I really didn't like there's very few options, maybe the Green Bay wide receivers, and we'll get to that in a sec. But I really didn't like the options when you go with the high-value quarterback, what you'll be left with at the positions for running or for wide receiver. You know, that seems to take the biggest hit when you go high dollar value in the QB, is then you have to go with the 7,000.
It's sacrificial, yeah, it really is.
I like maybe one guy there and then a couple in the sixes, and then that's it. So
I gotcha. What about Ryan Fitzpatrick this week against the Cleveland Browns? If this is Ryan Fitzpatrick last year, you're starting him.
Yeah, without a doubt. I would avoid it only because he's just. Yeah, I could see. Not to get on the defenses, but I could see the defense getting an interception and scoring a touchdown off of this guy. He's just in that rut. The whole team is against him. Maybe not the whole team, but the organization is against him.
Well, I'm got to tell you, man, we're all familiar with our other contributor, Joey Peeps, who lives up in northeastern Ohio, and he is a monster Jets fan. He's actually not going to this game in Cleveland this week because he believes that there is a possibility that Cleveland wins their first game this week. And he said he is not going to be there when the 1-6 Browns beat up on his Jets. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to show my face either. So it makes a lot of sense to probably not drop your nuts on the table and gamble with a Ryan Fitzpatrick this week.
Yeah, he's ventured in the 20 land as far as FanDuel points go.
Sure.
I'm sure DraftKings is close to similar. He's ventured in 20 points one time over 21.
Yeah. Oh, he's been miserable. Last year, he was a really nice, sneaky play, and this year he's miserable. But going forward, I like the Josh McCown thought. I'm not a fan of the Brock Osweiler thought just because I think he absolutely sucks. I know that everything you're pointing at makes a ton of sense for this guy to come out and throw three touchdowns.
Yeah, keep in mind when I'm telling you that, I mean, if you're doing 10 lineups, let's say, in a $2 one, or let's say you got money, it's a big one, I'm saying do one with him maybe. You know,
mix it in.
What you can get is stud your lineup with the change you have left.
Yeah, you can probably chalk the rest of it with just Brock Osweiler at your quarterback at 6,600. It's going to make a ton of room. So, for the sake of speeding, let's go right into running backs and see what we see.
Now, running backs, obviously, if we're going studs, and we can because we went to save some money. I want to do one lineup with either or and both Ezekiel Elliott and David Johnson.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid right there. Those are two nice matchups.
I mean, if David Johnson is going to touch the ball 25 times, or both the guys a game,
you have to start.
Then that's what you want, and they're doing something with it. So you don't have to wear. He showed he's matchup proof, even though he didn't have a huge yards per carry, doing what he did against Seattle. So
yeah.
That's what you really want. Again, he's high value, and there's other guys I like that I think are going to perform. But for the high value slots, it's no question. It's those two guys, and I guess we have to this week because I don't consider him on a weekly basis, but Christine Michael is high value this week, and I really like his matchup. New Orleans of all the they're third in points allowed to the running back, with the other two teams not playing this week, so they're essentially the worst. And another thing,
it's your best running back matchup this week, yeah.
I think he is Christine Michael, and here's why. It's rumored that Thomas Rawls is ready to come back, so this is his last audition game to make it. And is he going to?
Sure.
If he has another monster game, Rawls is not going. Maybe they'll do a timeshare, but Rawls won't be the starter. And so this is his last game. And so, if they announce that against this team,
it's his time to go off. Yeah, it sure is. Sure is. A couple other names I want to throw in, too. I like Spencer Ware against that Colts defense. 7,400. He's another guy who's going to be owned, I would think, owned pretty heavily throughout. But I like Spencer Ware. He seems to have taken over for Jamal Charles.
Yeah, he has. Well, I think they know that. I don't think Jamal Charles' leg is healthy enough. I think he can make cuts, but I don't think he has power. So he's not really – I think he got one pass to the goal line, but they're still giving Spencer Ware the goal line, and he's the workhorse. He's now –
whatever the case might be, Andy Reid doesn't seem like he he doesn't seem like he has a lot of faith in Jamal Charles, or at least a lot of faith in giving him 15 to 20 touches a game. And Spencer Ware is doing exceptional, so why not?
Yeah, why would you change it? You don't. They're not fantasy guys. They're just trying to win the game. So.
They're trying to win a ball game.
When that comes, then Spencer Ware, I really like him. I also really like Matt Forte. For the same
hard not to.
Cleveland is horrible. They're horrible against the run. They allowed a lot of touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. So that's a really good one.
Forte was a little banged up, but all indications say he's going to play and he'll be fine. He's not going to have an injury designation by Sunday, so maybe he will run wild against the Cleveland Browns. I almost called them the Baltimore Orioles. I'll be okay. I like LeGarrette Blount again this week too. New England and Buffalo division game. I think that this is where the New England Patriots start to hit a stride, and they've really found that running game takes all the pressure off Brady. Belichick likes the ability to run the ball and eat up clock and get off the field and rest his defense. All these things just make sense for an economical coach and everything that he seems to do there. So I like LeGarrette Blount. I don't want to call him a must start, but like I did last week. But this week I do think you sneak him in there someplace. Jay Ajayi torched the Buffalo Bills last week. Torched them.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And I'm shocked.
I think he's starting to find his groove, and they're starting to find their groove as an offense with him.
Yeah, apparently the light went on with Jay Ajayi. I had no faith in this kid 7 weeks ago when they left him behind on the bus. I thought this kid just got Kevin McAllistered by his own team. There's no way he'll even be on the team in 3 weeks, and that shows you that I was way wrong, but I'm man enough to admit it.
Well, you know what? I think he benefited from them signing Arian Foster, even though Arian Foster didn't do much. He provided
certainly did.
And he basically, it was like, I don't have a job because of this guy, and he put his ass in high gear. And now, 200-yard games back-to-back, that's only happened like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, O.J., Barry Sanders, and somebody else that's in the Hall of Fame.
There you go.
Yeah, so nice company to keep for sure.
Then the last...
Go ahead.
The last guy I like at the cheap is Devontae Booker.
Yeah, he's
$100.
Growing in popularity. C.J. Anderson is out this week.
Yeah, he was already taking a good number of carries and doing a lot with it. I did misspoke. There are a couple teams worse than New Orleans to the running back. I was thinking of a different stat, so I apologize for that. But it's only Cleveland. We covered them. Atlanta, Indy, and then San Diego. So against Denver, you have they're the worst team. I can confuse them with New Orleans. They're the worst team as far as overall points allowed that's playing this week to the position. So you have to like Devontae Booker. You know he's going to go off just because he's going to be so eager in his first starting role, blah, 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 blah. At Denver.
Quite a bit of opportunity here.
Yeah, so in his value at the price, you know how they use the running backs in Denver. I really think he'll catch some passes. He'll do it all, and he could definitely get over 20 points. So
he can. And let me point something out here too. Gary Kubiak employs the run blocking scheme, which, when done properly and done effectively, you can have a 1,000-yard rusher on that team, and it's almost plug and play with that particular running back. You know, Mike Shanahan. If you were a running back playing for Mike Shanahan in the late 90s, early 2000s, you were going to get a 1,000 or 1,200-yard season. You're getting it. And Kubiak's scheme in Denver does tend to block the same way. So you see some success out of these guys. It looked like Booker Monday night was starting to get his groove a little bit, and at least get a feel for what he was doing. I like the play all day long. Let me throw one more out there, and then we're going to move on to wide receivers. After I tell you that Mark Ingram sucks, and under no circumstance should anybody start him this week at all.
No, not unless you want to be tortured.
Yeah, I can't stand him. Every time I see his name, it makes me sick. But it looks like Tevin Coleman is questionable, but likely to not play against Green Bay this week. Does that up the value for Devonta Freeman at all?
Nah. I don't know if Green Bay's defense is pretty stout.
See, so, I asked that question for a reason, but I also asked it because in a standard league, on a daily or a standard league, you're going to start Devonta Freeman no matter what, whether Tevin Coleman's healthy or not.
You'd have
but
to.
in a daily fantasy, you have the option to go, I'm not going to start him this week. I don't want to plug him in, and I think that's probably the right move. Green Bay has been pretty good against everybody that runs the ball that isn't named Ezekiel Elliott.
As far as FanDuel daily fantasy scoring, Green Bay is the number one defense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're looking
pretty
to
stout up front.
Could Devonta Freeman blow up? It's possible, but no one has yet.
No. Well, Ezekiel Elliott ran them over a few weeks back.
Oh, yeah, he did. But you know what? He didn't get too many points out of it because I don't think he scored too much, did he?
I'll tell you here in just a moment. He had a pretty damn good day, if I recall, but no touchdowns. He had 157 yards, but no touchdowns, and that was on 28 carries. So he came out of it 18.5 points.
18.4. And that's the one problem. I think my one gripe with at least FanDuel scoring is 157 yards rushing.
That's a pretty monstrous day.
And he had 2 receptions for 17 yards. So overall, he had 18.4. That doesn't sound like much for getting 157 on the ground. They should do it like we do it on our standard league.
Yeah, where you're rewarded for blowing up.
100, 150, maybe not 100, but maybe 125, 150.
Hey, 150 is a monster day, and there should be about another 3 points or something thrown in there someplace. But I'm not going to argue with the math geeks who know how to do all this nonsense.
So yeah, he's got to score to go really off because he doesn't catch too many passes. That's why David Johnson is the real monster of the league.
Yeah, he really is. Let's slide on over to wide receivers. Do you go chalk wild here and take Julio Jones at home?
You do.
Yeah, I think you do too.
We went cheaper. You also take Mike Evans at home. What these guys are doing on a week-to-week basis now, we're starting to catch our groove. Evans is at least catching a lot more passes. He's getting a lot of looks. That Vincent Jackson injury, retirement deal, whatever.
Sure.
That's really helping them out. Obviously, the other receivers they have and the tight ends are only complimentary. No one can step up. They're trying to maybe trade for a wide receiver from Carolina. So he's getting his looks. Only against Denver has he had a shitty game.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's understandable.
Yeah, I don't even need to explain it. So this is a perfect matchup. He's going to get 10, 12, 15 targets. I expect him to catch 75% of them at least, maybe 50, but have 100 yards, at least a touchdown, So
yeah, I do. I think you got to spend it. You got to splurge on Julio. And as long as he's having these monster days, you can't afford to not have him. I don't care if he's owned in 90%. If he's owned in 70% of contests, that's great because if he goes off, great. If he doesn't go off, that's fine too. You're still in that large bracket, so it just eliminates one scoring position. But this guy's he's a point monster. He's a beast. So you like him and Mike Evans.
And Mike Evans, I think, like I said, just the matchups alone dictate that we want to go there. Plus, we're talking your boys at Oakland are 4th worst, if you want to say that.
Not good. Not good against the pass.
No, Green Bay's not so bad, but they've given up some touchdowns, so we'll take that. Like I said, it's just you got to go with Jones until it's a really, really dominant defense.
Until he's got Talib chasing him around the field. Yeah, that's the only guy who's shut him down.
Yeah, exactly. There's 2 or 3 guys in the whole NFL that have a chance of shutting down Julio Jones.
Yeah.
So.
And he's not playing either one of those guys this weekend.
Exactly. The Green Bay secondary is beat to hell. So we're starting him. Mike Evans with Oakland being 4th worst points to the wide receiver position, so we're starting him. I also, like I said, because I don't need to – we like Carson Palmer, but I don't think he's going to get big numbers. But I think Larry Fitzgerald will do well this week at 7,000.
Yeah, I have Larry plugged in as my number 3. I think you can't. Carolina hasn't stopped anybody. That defense is not very good this year at all.
Oh, and with the Brown and Brown show,
it's over.
I think Jerron is coming back. John's done, right? Or did I get
no, that's the other way around. Jerron is done.
And John's coming back.
John will be back. John's got a hamstring injury.
Yeah, so he's going to be used sparingly. I don't expect Michael Floyd to blow up. Something's wrong with him this year. So everything's going to be either David Johnson, who's going to have another monster day, I would suspect, and Larry Fitzgerald. who I think, again, will look at the way they're funneling the ball to him.
They do. Look, he gets open. He runs the best route on the field, and Carson Palmer actually trusts him, where I don't think he trusts